Давайте поприветствуем Ивана Белого, разработчика Marmalade. Поприветствуем.
The first question I'd like to ask you, do you need me to speak in English, or anyone is fine with Russian? I know we have a friend from Poland, a visitor from Poland, who is absolutely fine if I speak English, but what about others? Are you okay with that? Right, great. Not many of you here. Oh. Hey, come in. Well, okay, so let's start. So today's topic is putting your applications from iOS to Android and beyond quite easy, with little effort from your side. And how can this be achieved is what I'm going to tell you. So let me introduce myself. I'm Beliy. I work in Marmalade company. We produce marmalade, these jars of jelly. Well, yeah. So what we do is an SDK that is about the cross-platform solution. So what we trying to bring to people the best performance they gonna get on the market, the best flexibility, the best scalability, and more or less we're achieving that goal. You can speak to our customers. They're partially happy, partially unhappy, as it always happens to businesses. And our latest product was the product we brought to this conference is Marmalade Juice. Actually, the name is not what can tell you a lot, but what it means. So sometimes developers have their native applications made for one platform, which is normal because one platform brings you a straightforward approach, and it brings you all the tools you need, and it's quite cheap. So the single platform approach is the cheapest way to bring your application to the market. That's obvious because you maybe need only $100 US to get development certificate, to be affiliated developer with Apple, and that's pretty much it, because you can get Xcode for free, you can get all the tools, you can get all the libraries, you can just start developing. Of course, you can have sophisticated tools like graphical tools to create a rich interface, or I don't know, even indie developed tools like map editors or sprite sheet editors. But, well, you need them anyway, and the cheapest way is to go single platform. And, well, we can say that it is sort of the safest way. When you start developing a game, let's say for iOS, you then get it. You probably will use the most affordable tools, the most popular tools, because you want them to be supported over time. And as we can see, vast majority of iOS games are made with Cocos 2D iPhone, which is absolutely great framework. And then Apple has released their Sprite Kit, which looks completely like Cocos 2D. So just a copy. And then there was a game kit. Well, so we decided, what if we can enable our customers to develop, to port their games created for iOS, created with native tools, with Objective-C, with foundation classes, with UI kit, with Cocos2D iPhone, which is written in Objective-C as well. With this lists of the most popular tools for creating native games. And we did that. What we propose is to just convert your project to Marmalade project and do not rewrite your source code for that. So you have a source code in Objective-C, and you give it an Objective-C, and you develop it in Objective-C. So you change your logics, you can change your graphical engine. It's all in Objective-C, and that's fine for us. And we can get that. Keeping in mind, then we have technology that allows us to compile user code directly to CPU binaries, directly to CPU cores, and run them on the CPU with the biggest performance you can achieve on the device. It should be quite fast. So we decided, we were at the point to decide what to do next. And we thought, why not to use Clang? Clang is a compiler. It's a front-end compiler that compiles your source code to bytecode, which then can be compiled to binaries or passed for runtime compilation or whatever. And Clang supports 3 languages, which are C, C++, and Objective-C. Great. So if we can apply Clang compiler, that should be okay. Yeah. But there is one downside in that. You cannot just build a binary and run it on Android device, because iOS applications, they are quite totally connected to iOS functionality and iOS libraries. They look for functions in iOS libraries. So what to do? Then, okay, we just need then to get rid of pure iOS dependencies and replace everything with our libraries and with our tools. So we had to bring Objective-C runtime to that. And so what you get then, your application is original in C and C++, and its code is not changed. You add Objective-C runtime, which of course brings some overhead into loading time. When you load your application, it takes a little more than originally on iOS to load the application. But that's a price for running your application on Android with no change in the code to be dependent on iOS, on Android libraries instead of iOS. Then, of course, you have to bring the implementation of foundation classes. You have to bring exceptions. Objective-C exceptions should be created on your side, which is not that obvious task, and it took us quite a while to create that, because stack unwinding is a hell of a complicated task. And all other auxiliary tasks should be completed, libs should be added to the project, and we're home and dry. So, how it works? You keep you keep your development in Objective-C, but of course you have to maintain Android things. Like, I don't know, if you use Game Center, you should probably switch to Android Google Play game services. If you use in-app purchases on iOS, you should probably be switching to Google Billing. And that is easily can be done with appending your code in C++ or using some extensions, but you still use Objective-C for development. You can use typical iOS frameworks, and you can use any normal Marmalade C++ APIs you would probably need to ship with your project, to use in your project. Of course, there are some framework gaps. Like I mentioned before, there is very popular SpriteKit framework nowadays, and it's more and more used amongst developers for creating their games. It looks like Cocos Riba made by Apple, and developers are pretty sure that this framework will be maintained over time, which is a good pro for switching to it. So we need to fill gaps in APIs. What we now have, maybe the coverage is around maybe 60–70% of APIs available on iOS 7, which you can think is not enough. But yeah, well, the number is quite low. But on the other hand, we cover the most popular APIs, the most used in development APIs. So this number is not that bad. And our example showed that we created a few projects with that converted, and the interest is great. Projects work. So yeah, but what we provide is a source code for Juice. So you can go to GitHub, download it from GitHub. If you see you have missing APIs, you have gaps in APIs, you can always fill them by yourself, because you obviously have you have source codes, and that's great. Or you can wait till Marmalade fills those gaps. We have priority listing and APIs that should be indeed added to functionality, and we release new versions of Juice quite often, comparing to our original project. Yeah. And it always brings new functionality, new APIs, which is good. So it's open sourced. You need a Marmalade license for that, and you can contribute to it. Here, this slide shows the software stack, which looks like a layered cake. Everything in programming, especially in low-level programming, that involves operation system, looks like a layer cake. But here is the device. That's where normally developers start with absolutely no tools and no frameworks. So they can access OS functions, they can access drivers, and they can use OpenGL. This level is very low, so you won't be able to show a great performance. You have to create your own frameworks that will enable you to use high-level abstractions. So we had to introduce our Marmalade system of that lowest layer, which contains graphic and cross-platform APIs. And that layer allows applications to run similarly on different types of device. Over that layer, we have the big chunk of code, which contains original game code written in Objective-C or C++. The code we want to convert, obviously, should be in Objective-C. Well, it contains new code for iOS, and it contains Marmalade APIs, and it also contains those orange rectangles, which show what we bring to the project, what code we add to make it work on Android device. These are Cookatron, which implements foundation classes. These are Chameleon, which implements UIKit, Cocos 3, and you should also mention OpenAL libraries, which are not shown here, but they are used for sound and others. And when it's all combined into a single project, when you append your project with all the files you need, you then just can open your original iOS Xcode project and convert it and use either Xcode or Scon's building tools for flying Clang and get a single binary, pass it to deployment tool, and get it working on different devices. Well, so the biggest advantage is that you keep working in Xcode. So you create your project in Xcode in Objective-C using different tools. You know how it looks, you know how it works, you know your project structure, and you keep working in the same Xcode. During conversion, nothing changes from user perspective. Keep working in the same Xcode. Then you can use a simulator tool and deploy tool and regular UI builder interface, so you can then you can have zip files, NIF files in your project, iOS project, and they will be converted. That's okay. So you should not be afraid of using UI builder. That's fine. Now we have a few minutes. Let me show how it works. First of all, let me show that it's not fake. I'll run. We have a tutorial which is a simple game for devices that uses accelerometer, and it is written with Cocos 3, and it uses OpenAL sound that. So you see here's the game that runs in native iOS simulator. Unfortunately, I can't show you a complete gameplay because it requires multi-touch for Pinch to blow up my fish, and it requires accelerometer. But well, you see, it works. You might can hear the sound. Now what we're going to do is open you download Marmalade SDK. You open it. No, so I wanted to show it. You open it. Right, so you see the Marmalade Hub. Here you can create different sort of projects, which can be original Marmalade C++ project, Quick, or Web Marmalade, or Juice. Well, we're interested in Juice. I want to remove projects from the list, and yeah, remove it. So what I'm going to do, I want to convert. I just push Convert to Xcode button, and then I browse through my files. Yeah, so I have work tutorials, Xcode approach I selected, and yeah, well, yes, I just push kind of a button and see the log. It says, so it opens the project, it analyzes it, adds everything, completed successfully, and we press done. It cannot be run because builds are not found. That's fine. We open it in IDE. Well, and you can see the same Xcode project. Same Xcode project with additional files, with buff, classes, all the scenes, everything. What has changed? We've got several options, and these are simulate to build, create ARM builds, which can be then deployed to the device. We need to create an ARM build. Unfortunately, it has around 900 files, so let me just show you on my device, on Android device, because we are running out of time. You just build it, and what you get, I just deployed it in the morning. Yeah, so yeah. Well, of course, this is a debug version, so you might have some assets. I ignore that, and I see the same game running on my Android device. Puff, just absolutely the same with accelerometer working, with multi-touch working. You see my fish is bloating. Well, it's quite tiny. That's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to show. So as you can see, the process itself is not that complicated. I tried to describe you how it works, so you might have any technical questions. I'm glad to ask. You can take a look at the source code of Juice, which is located on our GitHub. Just find Marmalade group, find Juice. You can check any of sub-projects which are in constant development, Cocktron, Chameleon, Unwind, and others. You can check the original Juice project. It's open source. Just give it a try. And well, thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer them.
Кто хочет задать вопрос?
Okay.
Hi, thank you for the session. Do you have any plans on supporting Windows Phone platform?
Windows Phone, yeah. Well, plans for the future. At the moment, we support ARM platforms. Firstly, we decided to target the most popular platform, which is Android, obviously. But our SDK, it uses a technology called single binary, when you can run the same binary on different devices. So the same binary is run on iOS, Android, Roku, set-top boxes, BlackBerry, and others. It should be just ARM device, and it will run that binary okay. With Windows, it's ARM device, so we probably can apply our technology to that, but there are quite severe limitations from Microsoft, so we are not able to apply our technology directly, and we're now working on that. We have to solve several problems. First of all, you have Xcode. you see, you develop your iOS game in Xcode, and you get Xcode project. Yes, of course, we parse it. We get every useful data out of the Xcode project, but then we create another Xcode project, which is a quite easy task for us. We have to write PBX project files describing the project, but it's a lot more easier than to create a Visual Studio project from scratch. So you have to convert Xcode project to Visual Studio project and to include everything. But yeah, but that's not the biggest problem. You might want to, so you need to you need to port your original project to Windows and then work on that with that project. Or if we get all the tools from Microsoft, we can establish the same project, the same process as we do for Android on Mac. But obviously, we need a signer for Windows packages on Mac, which is I don't see any possibility to get it from Microsoft. At least a source code for us to port it. So, we have that plans, and it's now even, the project even started, has already started, so we work on that. But unfortunately, I cannot give you any specific date or even a rough date. It's a research project. How can we do that? Because we feel that developers have a big need of putting their iOS projects to Windows. Windows is a fastly developed platform, and it lacks good applications that are available on App Store. Yeah, indeed. So we work on that project.
Еще вопросы?
Great.
What is the size of your library? How much is the project size increased? The final project, I mean, after porting to Android.
Yeah, good question. Well, just a second. Let me say you that I don't remember. I have compared it for, but no. Just a second. Yeah, you can. Well, so yes, it increased. I think it increased in something like 15 megabytes. But you can just catch me after this session, and I'll tell you exact numbers. I just need to check. It's in derived data, I think. Yeah, so I just need to find the build for iOS, original build for iOS, and compare it to the size of Android project, which is on my phone. And so just get me after this session, I'll answer you precisely.
Давайте скажем спасибо Ивану за замечательный доклад.
Спасибо. Спасибо вам всем.